This is Matt Fox coming to you live from Rostock, Germany, and it is another crazy day with the continuing saga of Donald Trump, the drama queen, looking for attention and always whining when somebody's disagreeing with him. This is another edition of Totally Out of Control News. So let's get into it. Um, Now, we all know I took a day off yesterday because everybody was just talking about the shooting that occurred at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And just like to say, glad that there was nobody really hurt. The one guy that got shot, Secret Service, was wearing a vest and didn't have any serious wounds. So, in regards to this whole thing, the investigation is still going on. The guy apparently left a something that he wrote out and stuff for the individuals that would be affected, the how he was going to plan it and everything. And so it is being looked at by, yeah, reporters and individuals in the intelligence business, and people are piecing together what he might have meant and who he might have wanted to attack. And in this letter that he left, some would call it what do you say? I can't remember what they call it, but anyway, sorry about that. What I'm saying is that his writing that he left apparently alluded to administration and officials that needed to be taken out. Now, he didn't name any names. However, there was one name that he kind of really pointed out, and that was Cash Patel. Wow, that's kind of weird. Everybody except Cash Patel, he said. Cash Patel is on the chopping block right now because of his bad behavior, and Donald Trump's pretty sick of the situation surrounding him. You know what I'm saying? And so there's talks going on in the hallways of the White House and throughout the FBI that Cash Patel is probably going to be on his way out. Now, it's obvious when you have drinking, public urination in your background that when you're going to court against an affiliate that has made comments because of co-workers that have made reports about you being unavailable, and when you're the director of the FBI, I mean, it's like you're supposed to always be available. So these people reported that there was problems, and that they actually had to call, maybe, or might have called for breaching equipment to get into a room where Cash Patel was probably laying drunk. Um, yeah, so he didn't want to be bothered, and these people were going to call for breaching equipment. So, nevertheless, this guy has in his past had public urination, um, under the influence of alcohol, underage, and these are things that not everybody gets. You know what I'm saying? I got to tell you, I'm 62 years old. 62, gonna be 63. And in my life, and believe me, I've had a very crazy life. I've lived in Colombia in the 80s. Hi, Jinja. I lived in Colombia in the 80s, and I lived in America and dealt with some very dangerous people. Um, I have never in my life had an alcohol related arrest. Not one time. Not driving under the influence, not public intoxication, not urinating in public, definitely not. So for this guy to have this type of background and then be brought into the FBI, for me, it's a little crazy. But yeah, that's who you got leading the FBI. So you guys saw his willingness to use the jet the FBI jet to fly to Italy, to fly to his girlfriend's shows where she was singing, to go here, to go there. And all the while, when he was, before he was in the government, he was whining and crying about Chris Ray using the jet to go on vacation or whatever. But actually, they have to use the jet because they need to be available. So, um, so for him to be so hypocritical and then to sue the Atlantic because they reported on the situation with him is kind of funny because when it goes before the courts, this dude will lose big time. And Donald Trump's not going to allow that. It's not going to happen. He's not going to go to court. So he's going to have to either drop the lawsuit or agree to disagree or something. So back to the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So the guy who committed this act, Cole Thomas Allen, I think it was. Um, he seemed kind of level-headed. I'm not sure, you know, what his background is. He was a teacher. He was given Teacher of the Month award in December 2024. Um, but I'm going to put it out there like this: many people are commenting about the fact that Donald Trump used this immediately to try to call people out, to build the ballroom. And all of his MAGA influencer friends started to, hey, what's up, Ron? All of his MAGA influencer friends got on X and True Social immediately and started calling for the ballroom to be built. Ballroom to be built. And there is a serious amount of people thinking this was all set up again. All set up again. So the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, there was many conspiracy theories going around that that was all set up. And at this point in time, his numbers are just like then, very low. His poll numbers, I mean. And the fact that he was here at the White House Correspondents' Dinner for the first time, it was certainly a coincidence that this guy was there and did this little action. And it's funny because before it all started, Caroline Levitt said something about there's going to be some shots fired. So that's just one of many coincidences that I just find a little funny. Yeah. So, like I said, the shooting in Butler is still being questioned, is still being looked at by a lot of people. So the question is, was this staged or was it not staged? That is the question. Um, but it just stokes conversation about the ballroom because that's all that seemed to come out of all of this is conversations about the ballroom. Um, I told you guys a long time ago that the ballroom is not something that's going to be privately funded, and now he's calling for the government to have the ballroom built. That means it's coming out of your pocketbooks. He wants to build an arch. He wants to put his name on the Kennedy Center. He wants his name here. He wants his name there. And this is getting old, okay? So, another interesting thing that I saw was that Erica Kirk was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Now, Erica Kirk is supposed to be one of those women that tries to convince other women to stay at home and be good wives. Now, she may be a widow now, but the fact is, she was at this White House Correspondents' Dinner and it was apparently very shaken up, and was crying, I just want to go home. Yeah, she shouldn't have been there anyway. I don't even know why she was there. So, um, Correspondence Dinner is for the journalists. And the journalists that were going to win awards were winning awards for their reporting on the Epstein files. And that's something that Donald Trump does not want. Donald Trump does not want any kind of discussion about the Epstein files. So, what better to do than to have some sort of a situation that draws the attention away from the event, from the journalists, and then cancel the event, and then reschedule the event, and then next time it'll all be about Donald Trump. So I'm just thinking it's a little too convenient, just a little too convenient. So, but all of a sudden, that happens. So the Trump Epstein class will be exposed by Paolo Zampoli or Melania because the Congress is looking to call them before the Oversight Committee and have them speak under oath. Now, James Comer is doing everything he can to block this from happening. MAGA Mike Johnson is trying to block this from happening, or should I say, Grinder Mike Johnson, because every time there's any kind of a GOP event somewhere, it seems like Grinder crashes. That's a website for gay men and women. So I'm just thinking that maybe Mike Johnson is more worried about keeping the Epstein situation out of the news, and therefore they're trying to keep that so where they're just going to have conversations with people, but not under oath. So, in regards to Paolo Zampoli, his former ex is now in Brazil due to his interference in her situation because he knows that she was Brazilian and her visa is something that has been overdue a long time. And when she got into a situation where she was under the microscope for a minute, he used the ICE to deport this young lady. And in doing so, he keeps their son. So now she's in Brazil, she's speaking out, and I encourage you all to look up her name, Ana Ongaro, and see the stuff that she's talking about. She was there when that all started going on with Melania and Donald, and they've been friends for a number of years. There's plenty of pictures of them on Instagram to see. And she talked very, very badly about her ex and about the fact that he's only in it for the money, that he was given a large sum of money back then to do certain things. And I'm certain that he was a willing participant in every situation that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in. All right? So the thing is, if Trump has the correspondents' dinner again, they should all stand up and turn their backs on him. Just stand up and turn their backs on him. But one thing that I am seeing is really disgusting is that CNN is now turning their way of reporting the news to Trump's liking. Dana Bash did an interview with Jamie Raskin and his congressman, and I cannot believe the way that she directed this question to him in regards to how the Democrats, and by the way, I'm a Republican, just so you guys know. So thanks for watching again, and like I said, I'm Matt Fox. I'm coming to you from Rostock, Germany. That's why I've got the German flag and the American flag in my logo here for the news. The thing is, Dana Bash made some sort of a statement or question to Jamie Raskin about the fact that the Democrats might be saying too many bad things about Donald Trump. What is this woman talking about? This is the guy that said he can grab him by the pussy. This is the guy that said he can go in the dressing rooms where the girls are all undressed because he's the owner of the pageant. I mean, there's no way to defend this guy. And it's not the administration. The administration is all being run by this one guy because he's got NDAs on everybody. That's non-disclosure agreements because he's got some sort of blackmail material on some people, probably a lot of the guys in the Senate and the Congress as well. And there's probably a lot of them that were co conspirators in the Jeffrey Epstein cover up. And so, therefore, they all need to be voted out of office. And I'm sick of it because I'm a member of the Republican Party, and I sit here in disgust to see what our party has turned to. It is now just a MAGA cult, and the ones that are stepping away from the party, they understand that MAGA is only going to be around as long as the cover up continues. But eventually, it's all going to come out. Eventually, they will find the bodies at the Zorro Ranch. Eventually, they will find that hidden room at the Zorro Ranch. And eventually, Donald Trump's guilt will come out. Lies can only cover up lies for so long. And then the truth comes out. The truth will always prevail. So I call on the journalists and those who attend the next correspondents' dinner. If Donald Trump is in attendance, when he gets up on stage to make some sort of a speech or whatever, I call on every journalist and everybody attending, just quietly turn your back to him and don't say anything. Let him ramble. Let him ramble till he's done. Because he is a piece of shit. He has shown it through the years, through his comments, through his behavior. Ask E. Jean Carroll. Ask all of the victims who are unwilling to talk, all of the Jeffrey Epstein survivors who are unwilling to talk about Donald Trump because they know that the DOJ and the FBI will use that to try to either, yeah, they're scared. They're really scared. And that's why nobody wants to say anything because they were threatened. Many of them were threatened when they were there, and their families were threatened. And Donald Trump is not above that shit. And Donald Trump thinks he's a mafia boss. And so, therefore, he wants to control everything that goes on. And that's why Kash Patel will be finding his way to the door soon. So, yeah, what was I going to get into? Yeah, I just wanted to say after the episode at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and after Donald Trump made his little speech in front of the press in the press room at the White House, all of his sycophants in the cabinet were there. And they were all kind of laughing it up and chatting it up, and everybody was in a good mood and everything. And I saw this one picture of Pete Hegseth, and he smirked like a mother trucker. I'm telling you, I think it was all stage. I'm just thinking. It's my opinion. I'm thinking it was all stage. I really am disgusted how it all went down. Um, Certainly, I don't wish there to be any kind of violence or gunfire at any event, let alone where the government is involved. However, that is not to say that I am pleased with the government because I think that it's necessary for the GOP to get somebody in government to run for office that has some morals, some character, and a willingness to put the MAGA cult behind them. So, even so many people like Megyn Kelly, Marjorie Taylor Greene, uh, Joe Rogan, before he got Donald Trump's permission for his psychedelic drugs. There's so many people that are stepping away from the Trump administration and Donald Trump as a person. And they're right, they're doing the right thing because Donald Trump is tearing this democracy up. And another thing that they're doing is they are trying to get the Ukrainian people to agree to give up part of their land. They're trying to get the Ukrainian people to capitulate. And capitulation is only something that Donald Trump is willing to do. And Donald Trump is getting his ass tore off the bone by the Iranians. They have the Straits of Hormuz closed, and he is not getting anywhere. Every time he says that the price is going to go up, the straits are going to be open, it is a lie. It is a lie because 2 hours later, the Iranians respond and say, no, they are not open, and we are not doing um, any interviews or discussions with this administration. So another thing, the government shutdown that is still going on to this day is because of the Republicans, MAGA Republicans, trying to push this bill through. Hey, Linda, how you doing? Good to see you. And thanks, Brain Rot Master. Jesus is King. Yeah, that's right. I love you too. And he loves us all. So check this out. The reason that the MAGA Republicans are trying to push through this bill and why the Democrats are standing against it is because of the fact that it is going to screw over Americans in regards to voting rights. They're going to make it difficult for you to vote. I mean, when it comes to the day of elections, you guys really need to check back and find out where your voting place is, because I'm telling you, they're changing stuff around. In almost all the states, the Trump administration is making changes that you may or may not know about. So get informed. Get informed. Please do. But everybody get out and vote. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a Republican. I will not be voting for any Republicans that are sycophants of Donald Trump or that have been protecting the pedophile in chief. All right? That's just me. I can't do it. And as for Republicans, there was a Republican back in the game that was in the Senate for many, many years. And his name was John McCain. And he voted to not go along with Donald Trump when he tried to overturn Obamacare. And because he knew that it was good for the American people, because he knew that Donald Trump didn't have any kind of plan. So he wasn't going for that bullshit. But his daughter, Megan, I have to admit, I'm sorry, Megan, you're a piece of crap, man. She is now backing MAGA in calling for the ballroom. The ballroom's got to be built, she says. It's just a waste of your money. What is he going to do when he gets the ballroom built? Is he going to go hide inside? Is he not going to let anybody in to get him out? Is he going to claim to still be the president? I mean, this is really beyond belief that this guy uses this shooting that occurred at the White House Correspondents' Dinner to sit there and try to push this ballroom to be built. All right? So to go on to some other news just for a second, I just want to say the Lakers lost last night. They're 3 games ahead of Houston. Game 5 is probably Tuesday. So you guys, Lakers all the way, all right? So the Trump Epstein class. You guys do not forget the Epstein files. Push that information out on the internet and on your Facebook, on your other social media, and keep on asking for answers to the Epstein files, because the Epstein class, many of them are dead. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. John Casablancas is dead. Jean-Luc Brunel is dead. And the 2 that are still alive are in the American government. Crazy. Paola Zampoli and Donald Trump. And both of these guys had modeling agencies. And Donald Trump even bought pageants. These pageants, he would go into the dressing room when the girls were half dressed. 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old girls. Donald Trump is a fucking pervert. And CBS had an interview with him, and they said something to the the letter that the guy that did the shooting had left about something about pedophile and rapists, and Donald Trump jumped on that immediately. He jumped on that immediately. Oh, without, she didn't even say his name. And he jumped on that comment. I am not a pedophile. I am not a rapist. Hey, get off the bullshit. If the shoe fits, put it on your fat ankle. Okay, another funny thing that occurred in this little video where they were trying to rush Trump off stage is that his fat ass got up and took one step and then fell down on his face because he's too freaking fat. They practically had to drag his fat ass out of there. So, 190 my ass. So, nevertheless, you people continue to ask questions, continue to open the Epstein files each and every day, read through them. The allegations against Trump are numerous in there. And if you go to my YouTube page and look at the top part, you will see a document from the Epstein files where it clearly says that Trump was actively recruiting girls. Okay? Virginia Giuffre came from Mar-a-Lago. Many other girls were sent to Jeffrey Epstein even after his conviction to his house over there in Palm Beach from Mar-a-Lago, which is like a little mile or two away. And they used to drive him over there, drop him off. They'd send him into Jeffrey for a massage, which ended up normally being a rape or something else. Yeah, bad stuff went on. Huh? And that he was actively sending girls over to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off for today because I got to go into town and get some business done. I'm trying to get my book finished. I'm not writing a political book. I am writing my life story, but in a kind of a funny way. I will tell you all about it when I'm getting closer to the end and when I have the title and the book. The book. So Debbie, so your life, she said you was an informant. Yeah, Debbie, that's been said, and that has been figured out why he did that for a reason. Because Jeffrey Epstein was already talking about exposing him because he screwed Jeffrey Epstein out of a house deal. Jeffrey Epstein was going to buy a mansion, and you would know that if you've been doing a little bit of information searching. So, nevertheless, okay, I got to go because I got to go into town. But nevertheless, I will get back to you guys again. And I appreciate you watching. Subscribe, it doesn't cost anything. And give me a like if you would. And if you would like to make any kind of help, it's down in my description, right? Wish you all a wonderful day wherever you're at. And if you have family, be sure to tell them that you love them because you never know when this day is going to be your last, all right? Take care and have a nice day. Thank you.